Yeah. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the St Town Council Community Assets and Open Spaces Committee meeting on the 6th of July. I'm Councillor Peter Dixon in the chair. I believe we are certainly quorate, which is a good start. Just going through the agenda. First of all, are there any public questions? No. Apologies for absence. Okay, excellent. I think he's recovering from his operation, wouldn't he? Have we heard whether he's doing okay? No. Still with us anyway, good. Request for dispensation. Any of those? Declarations of interest? No. Minutes of the last meeting on the 5th of May, which are pages 3 through 6, 5, 3 through 5. Anybody got any comments on those? But there's a question of signing the minutes and closing that meeting, because I wasn't the chair of that, and Councillor Canning was. So the committee who approved it, I signed the chair of this. Okay, everybody happy that I signed those minutes? Good. Okay, I will do that. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the Open Spaces and Cemetery Manager's report.
Thank you. Quite brief, really. Beautiful thing is the Rugby Club was successful with their grant application. As we've sort of agreed with them that all the money that would be spent on the application of topsoil, top dressing on the pitches, because that's one thing we struggled to afford to do on a regular basis. So that was actually done last Wednesday and Thursday. 300 tons of sand soil mix across all 4 pitches. Their grant only covers 3 of the pitches, because when the grant was applied for, pitch 3, training pitch, the year we took it out of use, it was deemed to be in good condition, so it wasn't eligible for a grant. But we had some funds in place, so we've managed to type dress pitch 3 as well. So it means every pitch has had 3 of the pitches had 80 tons and 1 pitch had 60.
How is that going with the weather? Because it's been very dry.
Well, it'd be nice if it got washed in, but we live in hope. Yeah. Because it's soil sand mix, I don't think it will blow away or anything like that. You know, it will stay put.
All right.
So we just need some rain. You know, sooner really than later. But you know, it's a nice level field. It's not going to migrate. If it does rain heavily, it will stay where it should be. We can always brush it in again if it does look like it, you know, ripples develop or anything. We've got the ability to brush it, so
yeah,
should be fine.
Like you might get some on Friday the 17th.
Of which year?
Actually, a nice little patch of rain over that weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Won't hold you to that.
Yeah.
Do you feel we're going to be in a better position than previous years?
Yes, I mean the level has improved, but so the cricketers are benefiting because the outfield was very bumpy for them.
Right.
So they should have a better go of cricket, less risk of the ball hitting them. Good. Yeah. It's hopefully a win-win there.
Good.
We need to fertilise, but the soil will bring some natural fertility with it. But we've got fertiliser in stock. That's a very slow release. It relies on rain to release the fertiliser, so we can apply it almost any time, but we'll probably wait a week or 2. There's no hurry really. And just booking the weed killing, but again the weed killing will be weather dependent. it doesn't rain and then we go into, more severe drought than we've got at the moment, we won't be able to apply a weed killer until that's finished. It could be late in the season again. But we just keep persevering. But again, the weather is just against us at the moment and has been for sort of 3-4 years. We'll keep going.
Yeah, great, okay. Any questions? Yes.
One from me, the rugby club were keen to water and have sprinklers out, weren't they? Are they still in that mode? Is that
No.
something that's happening?
But might reapproach. We could really. I'm not here for next week's meeting, but it could be. We consider.
A proposal came from them at the time, didn't it? It'd be good if we could work together with them to do that and give it the best chance of taking in, as you say, not blowing away.
Good.
I was going to say, what are the rules concerning using sprinklers for sports pitches in this now that we're in this kind of a ban?
Well, as we're commercial, we're limited to protecting our crops, such, protecting wildlife. That's the sort of way it's explained, isn't it, Linda?
We're using it.
Yeah.
Oh, so we can water sports pitches.
We can, if it's with the purpose of protecting the crop. So if you've sown some grass seed, then you can water to keep the grass alive.
We could water flower pots and.
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So anything more? Poultry floodlight?
Yes, they've arrived, and I'll hand those over to the rugby club very soon. So I did research the costs of replacement parts because there was some concern from the rugby club that the set they had before didn't last very long. But I think we deal with small repairs as they come along. They should be able to get 5 years plus out with maybe 10. I think that's probably realistic. Battery life is generally sort of 5 to 10 years for lots of things, isn't it? So
Yeah. How many of them do we have?
8.
8 portable floodlights.
Yeah.
That's good. Excellent. Okay. Anything else to add or ask Nicholas about? No.
One more thing to mention, if I may, which we did make a report. We've got a leak in the pond again, which we only repaired about 4 years ago. It means we're going to have to drain it down, take the fish elsewhere, look after them, drain the pond down, and render the sides of the pond maybe this time. At the moment, it's rag stone pointed in.
This is the Vine Garden.
Yeah, Vine Garden.
Right.
Sorry. But the leak's severe, so we're using a lot of water just to keep the fish alive, really. That's another issue, but we'll probably get on with it almost as soon as. Yeah.
Good, pretty new bridge over it.
I was saying that. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, great, and colleagues may notice we have a item 11 later on about the permanent floodlights for the rugby pitches, so we'll cover that later. Good, thank you.
Sorry, Chair, may I ask a question about the pond?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a sense of what costs that will incur for us, or do we need to drain it to find out how that problems first?
We'll need to drain it to find out, bad. And last time we repaired it ourselves. Even if we got. So at the moment it's the floor, the base of it is render. The side walls are rag stone pointed in. We're wondering whether we ought to do smooth off the rag stone and render that as well. So we could then probably find it easier to see a crack if another one occurs later. And obviously waterproof render. So it might be worth me buying a builder to do the rendering. We need to take it, drain it down first.
Thank you.
You all? No. Thanks then, Nicholas. Let's move on to the next item, number 6, the allotment officer's report.
So the vacant numbers at the allotments are quite low at the moment. So since the meeting, there has been a slight change. So now there's 1 half left at Quakers Hall and 1/4 plot as well. There's still one also plot available at Blackthorn. The graph is just a visual comparing must be nice. The important part is about allotment rents. So we have to give a year's notice to increase or change the rent. So for the last 3 years, we have separated the rent figures for Bradbourne and Quakers Hall allotments because they have different facilities. Quakers Hall has a training centre, so they can benefit a bit more. So the proposed rent increase is according to the Bank of England's inflation, so it's inflation rate, so it's 2.8% at the moment from last checking. So that would mean an increase of 1 pence per square metre for Quakers Hall, which would make it 26 pence per square metre and 25 pence for Bradley Vale allotments. That's yeah, that's the we need to ask if that can be good.
Yeah, see if you want to recommend that.
I'm not
Yeah.
quite understanding that, so it's a 5% increase.
So you're looking at previous
Oh, I'm.
years.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, next page.
Yeah. So it's going to be quite low this year, rounding.
So how much is a like quarter allotment then in total?
So every plot is different, but yeah, so if we quarter plot would be about 13-15 pounds.
Per year.
Yeah, but yeah, approximately. The most expensive one is about 70-80 pounds. And that's the whole size plot.
Yeah.
I went and had a look last Monday with and I thought they were looking good and the attendance seemed to be happy.
In the weather functional. The weather helps.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to see we've got such high occupancy
Yeah.
for both sides. That's really good. Really maximising that.
Sure.
Hmm.
Are we not allowed to use host piles? So the tenancy agreement mentions that it states that they're using host pipes is not allowed. And even though that's the case in the tenancy agreement, I still send an email out to tenants to still inform them whenever there is a general host pipe ban. Yeah, so there is one. There are some exemptions like medical, but that's not very frequent.
But we were going to go and walk to the years.
Yes. Yes. That's the usual thing.
Quite hard work.
Well, it's quite hard work
Depends how
having an
far you're-
allotment.
Yeah. How far you're off your tank.
There's quite a lot of tanks around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they take water from the roof of the sheds as well.
I have to say, well, I feel sorry, Chair.
No, carry on.
Feel like I'm stitching. I've seen a couple of people with soil touch hose pipes. They fill up with tanks on their allotments. And
That is a bit of a grey area.
it's annoying for people who are trying to fill
Yeah.
their watering cans over time. It's
We had a tenant who called up recently asking about the exact same thing, and is, it's not very clear on the South East Waters website about what the ban means, but we just have to kind of adjust. It's
Okay, good, thanks Anna. What we need to do is you'll see on page 10 a proposed recommendation. This is the increases that Anna mentioned, which would come into effect not this October, but the following October, so you're giving people plenty of notice. We need to recommend something to the Finance Committee. So the proposal is that we will increase rents by 2.8% to 26p per square metre for Quaker Hall and to 25p per square metre for Bradbourne Vale. So I'd like to put that to the vote if we can. All those in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Oh, great. Okay, so that recommendation will go forward. Thank you. There's a separate item on. The notes in blue, I think, is that right? Yes, later on, number 12, so we don't need to cover that. But I think we can move on to the financial report. You can give us a quick summary, Georgia.
Okay, so as at the end of March, so the kind of end of year finishing position for the whole of the council showed a surplus of approximately 23,000. With regards to open spaces, there were some unplanned items. We've got quite a high tree budget. Well, we've had quite a high tree expenditure, and the same is probably going to happen this year, due to tree reports that we've had, and we had bridge repairs and fence work at Wine Gardens. But overall, if you look at the net comparisons, we kind of finished under budget on most cost centres. Overall, we were about 19k under budget for the cost centres at the end of the year. If you go over the page, we then look at April. There's not too much to report on April. We're only a couple of months in. The year-to-date position is a £32,000 surplus. Again, we seem to be under budget on most of the cost centres. And if we do the totals, which I'll put on the next report, I'll put totals on the knoll, but we're about £2,000 under budget as of the end of April. With the timings, the May report didn't come to this meeting, but there is nothing to report on May. It's all looking good. It's all where it should be.
Excellent, steady as it goes. Yeah. Anybody got any questions on the figures? Obviously, early in the year. No? No? Yes, you may indeed.
Grass seed, so we're at 93% annual expenditure already, it's only April, we'd normally be expected to put a lot more seed down in the autumn.
No, you've got to look at, we didn't sell all of it, we've got 3 bags left for, second application in, specific areas.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting to spend any more on seed for football and rugby pitches. You might need another bag of seed for cricket renovation. That'd be about another £121. So I don't think we'll be, exceeding budget by much, if any.
And we're not talking about fortune then anyway.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Georgina. Next couple of items are kind of related. The first one, number 8, the consultation on the relocation and refurbishment renewal of the Greatness Recreation Ground play area. So that has been out to consultation. As we can see there, members can see some of the diagrams of the tender offers received on the certainly on the playground. I think there are 3 tenderers, which you'll see in the notes are referred to anonymously as tenderers 1 through 7. That's page 35 on agenda item 8. Quite a lot of detail there of how people and the number of people regarded each of the proposals that came through. There's a lot of detail there, so maybe I can open that up for if anybody's got any questions on the detail.
Quick question. The TN40 Northern.
Some of it, yes. Yeah, particularly Greatness.
Yeah, I guess more of the town TM30.
Yeah.
But it's that. Yes.
Isn't it?
That's to say, there's lots and lots of things to do, including things for children with disabilities. Is there going to be any shade on that side? Because with summers being the way they are, and the children being quite young.
in addition to this, we'll be looking at seating and shades and board addition. Yeah, it was always outside of the contractor.
It's important for me, yeah. Important for the children.
More natural shade. There was a budget for trees,
All fruit trees.
the south and west side.
So it's a location that already has some natural shading going on because it is alongside the stadium, it's less exposed than its current location, and there is.
Still pretty exposed.
But there is greenery as well to two other sides, isn't there? So there's some improvement on the current location in that regard. I was very struck by how different the evaluations were in face-to-face and online. You talked in the report about perhaps more adults filling it down online. We were capturing a lot of families with very small children when we were out in face-to-face consultations, weren't we? But it is strikingly very, very different. Although there is a cluster, isn't there, of tenderers that appear in the top group, just in a different sequence, but quite strikingly different in a couple of instances.
Yeah, yeah. So it's difficult to know really what we do with that. It is what it is, and I guess it's not a totally scientific exercise. But certainly when you average things out, taking those into account, which I think is on page 38, there are 3 or 4 that did consistently overall better than the others. So Tendra 7 with 26%, Tendra 1 21%, Tendra 3 20, and Tendra 5 15, in that sort of order. So as I say, not scientific, but what we need to do, I believe, is to note the findings of the public consultation. So that's not be all the end of it, which Tendra 7 received the highest level of support overall, and that recommend that the consultation finding should be considered alongside the separate tender evaluation report, which we have on the following pages. Includes due diligence, quality, financial, and so on, assessments of the submissions. So, assuming we're happy to do that, can we just vote on making sure the public consultation is included alongside the other elements? Those in favour of doing that? Anyone against?
Yeah, can I just comment about public consultation, although it's slightly different? I think there's a great deal of benefits talking to the small children face to face and the school. And it may have been very different to what the adults were telling us that the children wanted. But they actually told us themselves what they wanted and what they liked the best. Most of them were 8, 9-year-old, 10-year-old. It was the people who were going to use it. And it is strikingly different from what the adults thought they wanted. But if we'd have just gone with the adults, we wouldn't have got the round picture. So it does give as you say, maybe not scientific, whatever, but I think it's still more balanced than if we hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Your grandchildren,
Good point.
your grandchildren have quite a lot
Yes, amongst many others, I'm sure, but they did, yes.
I just have to commend the consultation for being so attractive to children. The children really loved looking at it. So that was beautifully presented, and you could understand what they were being asked.
And they were very clear on what they wanted. That there wasn't a lot of hesitation amongst the young people that I spoke to about, they knew what they liked.
A lot of things like.
They did the zip lines, and they did like the imagination areas as well as the movement. They seemed to like the colourful ones anyway. Yeah, there were some kids who knew their mind. Very much appreciated that. The children who responded through school, is that captured in the face-to-face or in the online? Okay. That's helpful to understand as well. Not quite sure what to do there.
Yeah.
Thank you for going out to the schools and doing that so thoroughly. I think it's really great to know that what we're doing is going to be well supported and well understood before we get there. really valuable.
And also the benefit of raising awareness about what we're doing and hopefully encouraging people to go there, children.
Excellent, good. So on the more technical evaluation, rather than people's opinions, we've got that set out on pages 42 to 44, 45 even. Briefly and 46, I believe. All the ratings of the various bids. Councillor, anything you'd like to comment on?
No more, I think it's the recommendations on page 44.
Yeah. If you may, yeah.
This is going to be totally fenced against animals and children's babies. And is that part of the tender? Whereas you said the chairs and this.
We kept some back for some seating and shades, but the fencing is within.
It is within.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll see if you look into the detail that Tenderer 7, who came out well, top if you like, of the public opinion, also came out very well, I think, probably seen as the best bid on the technical, financial, etc. considerations. So it was fairly, I guess, straightforward and logical that we would want to recommend that the contract, the design and installation of the play area should be awarded to tenderer number 7, and that authority be delegated to the town clerk to finalise contract documentation and project commencement arrangements. And that also we should notify those who weren't successful or in approval of the contract. So that is the recommendation. I might put to the committee. Everyone in favour? Anyone against? No. Great. So that recommendation is carried. Over to you, Town Clerk. And commencement date is obviously going to be scheduled after the Great Pavilion work is finished. So I guess nothing will start until this autumn, but at the earliest.
What sort of lead times do the various tenders have?
And it was probably 12 to 16 weeks, really quickly.
So we appoint in the coming days, which should be okay for mid-autumn. Good.
Okay, if we move on to page 47, parallel exercise with the outdoor gym proposals. Fewer respondents here, only 63 of them responded, but there's still quite a good set. 8 companies tendered, which we referred to as tenderers 1 to 7 again. So 1 to 8, their anonymity just cancel that numbers 1 to 7 in the play area are not necessarily the same. So number one in the play area is not necessarily the same as number 1 for the gym. But won't go into more detail than that.
Number 7 seems to be a lucky number then.
7 definitely is a lucky number, yes. Yeah, we can hear that. So again, there are plenty of comments of the sort of flexibility and broad range of activities that people wanted everything except the orange colour, I think. Do we have anything else to add? Any more on the colour?
We would ask for a different colour, one actual brown or green.
Yeah. Okay.
Green is nice.
So as you can see from the top of page 49, Tenderer 7 in this case came out clearly on top with 46% of the vote. So we have a parallel recommendation that the results of the public consultation should be included in the overall reception. members were asked to note the findings of the public consultation, which Tenborough 7 received the highest level of support. And that the consultation findings would be considered alongside the separate tender evaluation report, which we're just coming to, which includes due diligence, quality and financial assessment of all tender submission. So can I propose that? All those in favour of doing that? Thank you. Anyone against? You.
Conversation, I know the orange one, you've got the number 7 is the orange one. Looking at the pictures, just glance at the picture of it, it's so much easier to see what the orange machines are doing than the green machines or blue machines, and I think that might have slightly tilted people minds towards it. Well, I can see what those instances is doing, whereas green on brown, you see sharp, see well, even though it's a better colour in real life. There's a presentation. They've been very clever with an orange actually, so it's very easy to see what the functions are. I shouldn't think we're really taken balance in with the opinions, but they would have had an advantage. They would have certainly been an advantage having that colour contrast in the presentation.
But as somebody who does indoor gym, I thought that most of the things
Yes,
have a go.
The consultation especially was putting people off, not
It kind of was,
yes.
Yeah,
but all the things you can do.
right. Okay, so moving on to the actual evaluation of the tenders. Various criteria set out there, and once again, what came through on the public consultation, it also turned out that Tenborough 7 in this case achieves the highest overall score of 1,000, significantly outperforming the other submission. Particularly strong in the areas of value for equipment, public feedback, and overall compliance with the council requirements. Again, it was a clear winner on both accounts. So you can see where other tenders performed on page 52, but unless anybody's got any other questions or thoughts on that process, we come again for another recommendation. Any last thoughts? James Orange? No? Okay, so the recommendation is to note the outcome of the tender evaluation process and approve the appointment of the highest scoring Tenborough 7, for the design, supply and installation of the new outdoor gym equipment at Greatness, and to authorise the chief executive, in consultation with the chairman of the relevant committee, finalise contractual arrangements and proceed with the project. We're happy with that. You kindly vote in favour. Anybody against? No. So that also is carried.
Can I just thank officers for a clear, comprehensive and transparent process in all of that? That's been really helpful.
Good. On that nice, colourful set of expositions, we come to a more random, troublesome one, the Vine War Memorial, where a lot of work has been taking place to see how we can improve it, restore it to its former glory. So there's quite a long report here with photographs included, etc. So yeah, lots of detail. Councillor, you wish to say something about where we are on
To
that?
summarise, I think now we have reached a position that both the town council and the conservation officer is happy with the way forward. And so the planning application will be resubmitted with that information and hopefully validated and go through the process, and then we can get on with it.
And they're happy with the option 1 solution. I'm pleased.
Which is accurate.
Yeah.
Was that the original idea that we, was the option 1 for sort of
It's
one that we put to them before.
got a bit more detail now and explanations to why the option one.
There's a lot of people.
Further concerns of the conservation officer have been allayed and.
Yeah, so we gave two options, they preferred the option one, which was very preferable.
There's a paragraph on it on this extra page. It's standard. That's well
Okay,
taken.
definitely got the extra page.
One thing, Davidson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they gave we all are, very.
Much more than I think we originally, I have one,
Yeah,
even,
so that is now a work in progress and hopefully moving in the right direction.
I'm very glad you.
I don't think there's anything we specifically need to approve there, because the tooling of the application is underway.
And of course, it will all be completed by the time we get to.
We do have this, but we have to follow the process. of
Yeah,
planning.
yeah.
Yeah,
But obviously that will be good, wouldn't it?
that's what everyone's aiming for there.
On the basis of the Remembrance Day every year, the answer is yes.
More important to get it right than. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been in a bad condition for a long time.
Well,
hasn't
it was an interesting report to read. It was really interesting and helpful to understand the problem. I like the pictures.
And it must be a
Yes.
problem for kind of town councils and parish councils all over the country, these issues of how do we maintain these laws, you know. And that's what I think, well, you know, some people.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let us move on to agenda item 11, which is the permanent fixed floodlighting for the rugby pitches, where use an analogy, I think the goalposts have moved somewhat, what one is or isn't allowed to do,
Yes.
because of the site of special scientific interest in Knoll Park next door. So again, I don't think we have a quick summary of what we're planning.
So you previously agreed to put in new floodlighting columns and new lights on the top. What we didn't, wasn't aware was that the planning rules have changed, not for the floodlighting, but for the triple S right next to it. And so applying for planning, they wouldn't validate it because it didn't have the correct ecology reports. And when we spoke to people about the ecology reports, they said you will not get permission for it to be next to triple S, you know. So we spent quite a lot of time talking to suppliers and planners and different people. And the only way around it, for the rugby club to continue to have floodlighting there, is if we keep the current actual lamps, but put new columns in and refit the current lights too. Because that is the same as the existing plan, so it's not replanning the lights. Which is a shame because the new lights would be better and have less lux and less intrusive, but if we go that route, they won't approve. So this is our only way, and this is the way we're progressing it now. It's still not guaranteed it will go through, but we believe it will get through in the planning process. Their original suggestion was remove the floodlights, which would have been a good pitch, I think. Or only have portable floodlights, which would be worse for both. So this is currently the best solution we can find for them to continue to have floodlighting. It is a shame because we thought there would be the opportunity to provide improved floodlighting, but it's going to be as it was basically.
Yeah, so at least it will be a lot safer, won't it, with
Yes,
new
columns.
with new columns there. So if you look on the diagrams, the three in red will stay as they were before. The one in sort of dark blue that was going to go will also stay, as I understand it, be replaced. But the orange, the new orange one at the top there, That's not now going to be a new orange one.
That's correct.
So that's where we stand. And of course, lighting will improve significantly, as Nicholas said. We've also got to add to this 8 portable lighting towers, go probably the other side of the pitch, I guess. So it should be significantly better as well as being safer. Yes, Mayor.
Can I just ask whether how this affects the budget that we agreed for this? Is it going to mean it's cost less and not like with a
Very little, the reason why we said yes to the new lamp, because it's almost, you're doing it, you might not do this extra bit, so it's not really different.
Yeah, it's not worse.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sorry, me again. So thinking ahead, the lights that the lights on the tops are what, 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
If we were needing to replace them at some point in the future, and I know they've got a fairly long life to them, but will we encounter this problem again in however many years that is, the life of the heads of these lights? Or was the issue specific to that new column location?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. The thing is that by the time we need new floodlights, it might be that the ones that we have won't even go on the market anymore. They might have been superseded by a new model.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to predict how the planners will.
we didn't have this problem in 22,
No.
Yeah,
4 years ago, so, it's 5 years from now,
yeah.
what the problem may or may not.
And when we talk about the issue of proximity to these, less likely these columns are right next to it. If at any point there was a need for lighting either at the tennis club or on the pitch closest to the tennis, would that have the same kind of problem, or is that far enough away that we would?
I'm sure that's far enough away.
It's about being right on the boundary of the triple SI, is it?
Possibly the tennis club, the last tennis court down towards the gatehouse might affect Noel. But the tennis courts are down in the little valley, aren't they? So,
Yeah, I was just sort of trying to
Yeah.
think through, the longer term configurations, planning aspirations
Yeah.
for the site as a whole, and what we can learn from
I
this
think
exercise.
The issue is that the Knoll Valley then falls down, doesn't it? So really the way those lights are positioned, it's that impact on the whole of that runs the valley, I think it's, so that wouldn't affect.
It's got to have a sensible solution to the problem we have before us now. Just trying to think about how we use that knowledge.
the
Looking
company
ahead.
Kingfisher Lighting did say that they're introducing a new light that was improved and less spill to the rear of the light. But that's in development and was possibly going to come out later this year. So it might be that, a few years' time, there's more lights on the market that protect what's behind the light, concentrate light more in the correct area. But it is difficult to say.
Okay, any other thoughts on that topic? At the moment, we don't need to take any action, I believe. Item 12, set notes in blue. Page 82, we've got the minutes from the working group held at the beginning of last month, and also a plan of the Poor route. An update on what's happening.
So everyone's been working very, very hard. Councillors who helped, very gratefully received. Staff have been absolutely magnificent. These has been stuffing grillers all weekend in the sun. Lots of people have been working very hard doing a lot of different things. So we get judged on Wednesday and then in the fullness of time find out what our score is.
Excellent. Okay, any comments?
We did do my mural on the
Edward's line.
side.
Yeah.
Well, really scruffy boards ones. Yes, just to talk the I've hung all these stuff. With all the bees and handles on top of it. It's really fun. Probably bees. But it all looks lovely, and the other High Street gardens are really good too. And I just came across the Rhinebeck gardens, and they're just stunning boys. It's really nice.
Good, okay, excellent. And the penultimate item, item 13, the Vine Cricket Club have submitted a request to investigate having a borehole on the Vine ground to provide water for irrigation, etc. And of course, we are their landlord, so they can't do anything without our permission. And again, the page is from what 87 onwards, we'll see they're thinking about this. Again, Clark, is there something we need to explain?
As I remember, this report was dated November 2022. And I think we discussed it at planning at the time, that we had three planning those. No, there wasn't a line of borehole proposal.
We had discussed, there was something that planning was the goal for them. We've had something from them before, saying they wanted to get me asking for more details and information, and that's what they're doing.
We just had quite long discussions, I remember, about whether it was right to take with where the aquifer at one place at the detriment of another.
I think we discussed that, didn't we, in the context of the golf club proposal?
I think we did, before that, in 22, we discussed it as well. I think,
Yeah,
do you remember that?
Yeah, I think we're concerned that,
You know, I did, but we were concerned.
aquifers are absolutely vital, they're all the water system. I would not be happy for this to go ahead if it had any kind of negative impact on the water supply for all of Southern.
It's bound to.
Well, we don't,
Evidence show us about that.
Yeah, indeed, we need to.
I guess we don't have a measure of materiality, do we? It's a bit different as to whether
What
they,
does that mean?
well, how many, are they taking 10% of the water in the aquifer or 0.0001%? The two cases would elicit a very different answer.
But don't you think we need to know that?
Yeah, and I think that's what part of their investigation will do.
I'm very concerned about this because there is a shortage of water in these parts of the country. And we, a lot of houses have proposed 17,000
Mhm.
new homes in this district. And I think water for residents should come first. Because there really is a shortage, and it's doesn't look so very good.
But also water for amenities that are used by many members of the public is also, yes, also reasonably important. But Councillor Shane.
We're talking about volumes of 20 metres cubed per day, I assume that means, and that is low enough that it doesn't need a licence. So we're not talking about, if we're talking about extracting for a farm that's going to be using huge volumes, they would need to be licensed by the Environment Agency. And presumably the Environment Agency has set their threshold at a point where they consider it to be material. So I think that's quite important to bear in mind. And I think it's also worth thinking about the fact that this water would be coming direct rather than taken from treated drinking water, as now when it's taken from the mains, that is water that has been, yes, come from the same aquifers, same underground sources, but then be treated and put back into the systems, into the holding tanks.
I think
As consequently, so there is a shortage, of course there's a shortage, but how do we meet all the needs?
What about the precedent we would be setting that people can, start drilling borehole?
Because they have done in the past.
Because it's legal. I mean, that's the way the law is at the moment.
Yes.
It doesn't really set a precedent because you could dig one in your back garden if you wanted to.
What we're going to be soon entering a crisis about the availability of water. It's 10 years, 15 years. It will be a massive issue for everyone. I think we need to have extremely careful about. But this is this is not necessarily the right thing that we.
And it's not all about aquifers either, because obviously a lot comes from reservoirs, from, you know, rivers, rainwater, etc. Before you can build more.
Well, there's a reservoir
so
we've got here,
complicated.
it's very, isn't there, but that's a long way away.
Yeah. So
It's the
a
amount,
complicated argument. maybe
I
we
don't
can't.
think I understand the science of it sufficiently to comment whether or not there would be any surprises or whether or not it's an issue in any way at all. I just think we're just saying, oh, we're taking water, must be bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
you think we're listening to
I feel like, you know, the whole kind of global understanding of it is,
and we're a very dry area,
yeah,
not as dry as this here.
but I mean, you know, the golf clubs have done it, haven't they?
No, they're being stopped,
I don't,
they have been stopped. They know what they're trying to do is catch winter.
yes, I know that,
To the-
but in addition to
different
that, there was also a big discussion about the possibility of them. Of
And maybe the same argument will happen.
yeah, but when it was discussed, it was agreed that it is actually legal to do it. On your own land. I understand.
Yes, that's what I understand as
for
well.
the time being. I mean, who knows what.
When there's no understanding.
Yeah.
really.
But this decision is about, we're being asked to make the decision now, with the parameters that we have now.
Yeah.
And if the parameters are that we have now are the experts, the Environment Agency have set a threshold that is above this to require permission.
Okay.
I just think that's worth
Yeah.
thinking about, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we all share the
Yeah, yeah.
anxieties about water
Yeah.
supply. We're not experts in this,
Yeah.
but these people who produced the report are much more knowledgeable than we could ever hope to be as at individual level without seeing into some serious levels of study. And they are relying on the fact that there isn't a need for a license. Do we know what level a license would be required?
About 20.
Oh, 20 meters.
20 is the limit of it.
So if we come in a few years' time, we get a request for above this limit, then that's something we're like.
Yeah.
In a few years' time. we're
The
gonna
other,
be
the other
in
thing,
trouble.
if I could to point out, is I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, councillor, but this is not giving them permission to have a borehole. This is giving them permission to investigate it.
Yeah.
So if we shut it down at this stage, it's sort of very early on in the process. So I personally feel a bit reluctant to say, no, you can't even investigate it, but let's find out a few more facts. And would they have to put in a planning application if they
I don't
do
know if
this?
they can for doing the testing, but they obviously need our permission to start drilling and stuff like that.
It's also the optics of this, of a private sports club, drilling the water when residents are other, you know, you can't water your garden, but people playing cricket can water their cricket.
Well, in any event, there are separate rules for commercial organisations regarding water.
But I think we need to be clear and we need to be shown that we understand this, that it's something that we understand, that we can tell residents that we understand. So that it doesn't look like there's one rule for some, and we thought it doesn't. But I didn't understand, I didn't know that before I read that. Other than- That's all I'm saying.
What's the mechanism for the testing drills that they would need to do? Is it something that will happen with a great deal of equipment and
So that's fine, my understanding was quite hard.
even for testing builds, not just for those?
Who will pay the cost of who'll pay the cost for this test?
We haven't been asked for costs.
Yet.
Which is another separate decision we could always make. But yes, this is purely to give landlords consent to investigate it. And hopefully come up with,
We're the landlords.
yes. That's why we are being asked to give our consent for them to investigate it.
We could do some more research into this topic, 'cause it's obviously going to become more and more prevalent, isn't it?
So that's, what you mean in broad, in
Yeah,
general?
broad general,
Yeah.
what's our feeling?
I think we agreed that we thought that was a good idea when we were talking
Yes,
about
we did.
the golf club,
That's
thing a couple of years ago.
Well, presumably the water companies or an environment agency or someone has a fountain of knowledge on all these things on aquifers and what is and was possible reason. Yes,
Yeah,
Madam Mayor.
the land actually belongs to, Southfields, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Another, you know.
Had to call me, yeah.
So, presumably they're in Southfields as well.
I don't know.
Which you'll receive now doing on Monday. On Wednesday.
Yes, yes.
Where? I don't think it's there. Wow.
One big one, I could get all in.
It's a traditional and it's I don't think it belongs.
Is it given or something?
Yeah.
At some point
Yeah.
historic to the town?
We do give a traditional given.
Yeah, I don't think it's been given, there's a ceremony.
Yes, it's a ceremony, but I think legally, if we looked at London British,
It's our land and our goods.
So any more thoughts, or do we feel strong enough to vote on whether we give landlords permission to investigate this?
Can I ask another question, just kind of the additional sheet we have here. And the conservation team have talked about tanking. What, I'm sorry, I think I skim read this report and I've not fully understood it. What are we talking about in the way of tanking and storage?
it's a round tank, which is about 4 meters. Diameter, probably I'm guessing maybe 3 meters.
More like 8 meters,
Okay.
2 meters tall.
Above ground, below ground?
They're suggesting, conservation officers suggesting half it and then having half of it.
And is there a preferred location for that within the site?
Only one place.
Down here where the zebra crossing, the new zebra crossings.
It's massive water tank, but we're all gonna walk on it every day.
Why is that necessarily?
There's such a tap on the side, and we can help.
Yes,
Okay, I'm sorry, I just think this whole thing. You know. All my plants are dying because I can't water them unless I carry them every bucket.
It sounds like we might need a bit of information about what the project would actually look like.
Yeah.
And what's implemented, as well as the information about borehole drilling.
Yeah.
And understand what the ramifications are.
I think you must have to have planning permission to put in such a water tank.
And
Yeah.
that's
So
sort of
it's
what
going
the
to come
comment
up
of
with
the
that. That's
conservation.
for
team.
I mean, nothing is more iconic than that area in town. It's really was very.
chronic waste car park.
On the other hand, it's an iconic cricket pitch, which has got a
Yeah.
grass on it, then it's.
Yeah.
No
It's
longer.
failing, isn't it? But
Well, I don't mean sort of bang on about this point, but we are all,
I'm with
you
you.
know, drive round the town, I should. You know, yeah, everyone's all to, you know, it's.
lovely.
So if we had some more information about what the project outturn would be, what the impact is, what the design is, what the implications are for water usage, metered water usage for the club and so on. And maybe a bit of information about where this has been done elsewhere and what's the, you know, again, a sense of the parameters and the scale of what's being proposed with that.
Yes, right now, as it stands, I'm not happy with this, but I would like to have a rounded.
If it was considered that this would be a good way forward or positive way forward. You know, we could have a borehole at the allotments, both the allotments, to save a lot of water. And would that be justified? I'm just thinking about the multiplication effect of saying yes to one of these.
What should we do with that? The Shane recommends and get more information.
Well, one way to get more information is to give them permission to investigate it, bring forward some plans. Which will need to have some detail and justification in, I guess. The other thing maybe we should do, given we have quite a few sort of liaison meetings with the rugby club to do with things at Noel Paddock. I suppose we could sit down at some stage with the cricket club or the line club. And talk it through with them and what the issues are. No bad thing to do, would it? Maybe we
Thought you
should.
did anyway.
I don't remember having had a specific meeting with the cricket club since I've been around. Maybe others have.
It's not just about cricket though, is it? I mean, everybody enjoys the vine, you know, even if they don't go and watch the cricket or they're not really into cricket, there are lots of people. All the people that go to the cafe and, you know, it's not just about what's there for the cricketers, is it?
Yeah, no, that's true. There's a few frisbees flying around and various other activities going on the line.
Just the general aesthetic of people
Yeah,
walking
That comes down to
through.
brown grass, all those things. Come from brown grass. Nobody minds.
Yeah, it's just, you know, visual
Helpful to
appearance.
understand
It's
as
not
well.
brown forever, I think winter. Right, everybody else has got to. Yeah, we still got to, yeah.
and we have the second oldest cricket club in the country. It's quite historic.
But for gardens, we've been that Nicholas has been working on all these years have become gradually more sustainable and using plants that don't need so much water, haven't you?
Maybe the days of large swathes of grass are numbered.
But that's a different discussion from where.
Well, you know,
Oh, no, yeah,
so
I think it's because it's in our mind, we were
That's
discussing this in a wet spring and it was all, I think it's just, we're all really noticing it now, each summer it's just getting.
There's so much that people's emergency briefing film, yeah, I think it's really very much more along with those doing, so. Perhaps that's a bit more militant, yes.
Yeah.
Indeed. So if we were to understand better what the project is, I mean, the project here just says it's to drill a borehole, but clearly there's much more to it than that. But then we need to understand what the ramifications are, what the project looks like. Does it feed just the cricket pitch? Does it feed the gardens, the pond as well? What are the infrastructure needs of the tank and so on? What 20 meters of cubed a day is? Well, you know, how does that relate to other usage? You know, is it more or less?
It could be that it's peanuts and we're getting, you know, some farmer
Exactly.
uses more on that on half a field in an hour than we, so, you know.
We might be using more than that just by using the hoses we're already using. So I think we need to understand
Yeah,
what this project is, how it moves the club forward, how it relates to the status quo, and how it and get a sense of the bigger picture to go with it.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah. I think it's worth bringing it up now at this meeting because this just starts the process of thinking it through.
Clearly going to be an increasing issue for us as the council to think about.
well, can I suggest then that we have a recommendation that we give them permission to go ahead and investigate the possibility of this, and in parallel we set up a little working group to go and talk to the cricket club about this and understand some of the pros and cons in the same way as we have done for Knoll Paddock and Raidens. Put that as a proposal. Anybody support that?
Well, sure, but is this?
Can I just be clear, just so I investigate, are you agreeing to drilling the hole?
No, I'm not agreeing with that.
No, you're quite clear.
Yeah, I think.
Yes, I think that's what they would be wanting to do, yes, drill to see if it's even feasible. I think that's right, isn't it? And if we don't want to do that, then yeah, I guess
Well,
we
should we
go
have a
back.
vote on what you proposed?
Yeah, we can have a vote on that. If we reject that, then we have to go back to the
Start again.
cricket club and say, no, you can't do it. Okay. That way, at least we get a decision. So the proposal is that they should be allowed to investigate, including definitely drillings.
Find what we can do, which is the problem.
It's right to the end.
There's one in here.
It's just.
Not sure I understand this isn't.
What's this to see them? No, it's just always reports.
Doesn't say we have the vote on it.
Just before voting, and I appreciate I don't have a vote here, but the budget costs for doing the investigation work. Oh no, sorry, the budget cost for doing the borehole is not doing it, so the budget cost for the borehole is 23 to 29K. If we've got a need for more information about what this thing's gonna look like before they go ahead and do that, is it fair to be asking them to incur costs for the investigation work?
Yeah, I suppose it's a fair point, isn't it? I don't know what the investigation costs are.
I can't see the investigation costs in here, only the final product costs.
The investigation is really drilling the borehole.
It is, so once it's done, it's done.
Done, if they don't, if for some reason they didn't find water,
Yeah, because
They
it's
just stick
risky,
back
isn't
in.
it?
but they'll drill for the size they want, whether it be 4 inch or 6
Mm.
inch. And that will be it, then the decision is whether it's worth using or not, or whether you keep going down deeper.
The discussion that we haven't had yet, whether we think it's right, or should, straight water, I mean, it needs always enough. We haven't had that conversation yet.
After that, the costs are providing like a wellhead, electricity to that. Apart from there to the storage tank. Electricity for the storage tank. There was various, some was 240 volt, some was 24 volt, I think, remember it was, there's some complexity to it. Where they'd get the electricity from, possibly the T hut, but if only if that was a big enough supply. So
We don't even know how much they're using at the moment, do we, from the normal water supply?
There's not enough information.
It's a version, we don't really
So
understand.
maybe then we should think, the first thing we should perhaps do is invite the cricket club to come and talk to us.
I think so.
And their,
Don't feel in a position.
Yeah, I think that's a
and
good
their
idea.
experts.
Yes, I would appreciate
Yeah.
that, yeah.
And the people, if they're still advising them.
we have 2 supplies to the field alone, plus 1 to the building, I think. So they must be metered on all 3, so I think it'd be quite easy for them to work out. 2 supplies that actually supply the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, could we defer this and ask?
They're separate.
effectively, yeah, we feel we need a bit more information.
Yes, can't vote on like properly understanding the village.
If we commit to this and it ends up with us accidentally installing a giant tank that we thought was stoppable and it's not, it would be, for the sake of, a cycle of meetings, to get some more information, I think it's really.
Sure. Okay, well, I'll propose that then, that we set up a meeting with the cricket club. Probably within the next month, and any committee members are welcome to be part of that. And other councils of a specific interest. Hopefully, I think, Nicholas, you can certainly be part of that. With your technical expertise on all these things. And let's hammer out a few of these things and understand what, because yeah, we
That's
just
what
don't
I
know enough.
think.
The only other thing I noticed in the report was their previous findings from Shendon Road, there's been a borehole there. In 1908, it was 3,900. A huge amount of water was coming out of that per day.
But that's
Just to give you some scale, I was just,
120 years ago.
yeah,
And
must have dried up.
I think that's part of it,
Yeah.
isn't it? When we hear the Darren River Protection Society, for example, talking about the issues of aquifers feeding the river, and the concerns for that, I think. Again, it might be that this is absolutely nothing in that context, but
Yes, we feel terrible.
Don't
Don't it?
understand.
It's a lot of money if it's nothing.
Well, let's set up.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Let that up.
So I'll propose that, all in favour? Looking at meeting, anyone against? Good, that's most of the agenda, only a question of whether you think there are any press releases that we should put out on any of the items we've been talking about or anything else.
We're putting out lots on our in 13.
Yeah, get that in hand through different channels. Should we put out a press release around the play area? The
Are
gym?
we in a position to do that?
Well, no. I think that would be really welcome.
Yeah.
People would
So
see
thank
things
you
that
to the
move-
people
moving
that-
forwards.
Contributed to the consultation.
And the War Memorial, how much further do we need to go before we let the public? The public know it from this meeting.
Through planning.
I think we're good for planning and press release. Hasn't gone through them.
Just to make sure that people understand that we are just forwarding it up.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to, it's a sensitive subject and it needs to be done well, and I know it will be. It's just a question then of time. If we get planning, approved by the public, but.
Okay, good, do a press release on the play area and the gym progress. Designer installer has been selected,
Yes.
great, okay, I
Sales.
think I can, before we close the meeting,
Yes.
good. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Councillor Dixon.